Scunthorpe is located just at the east of the River Trent in the county of Lincolnshire.
Scunthorpe has a population of around 62,000, but it hasn't always been that way. In the past, Scunthorpe was one of 5 villages. In 1919 it was decided that all of the villages would join together and Scunthorpe became a borough in 1936. The 5 villages were Scunthorpe, Frodingham, Ashby, Crosby and Brumby. Scunthorpe became so big because iron ore was discovered here and then the steel industry was developed.
Scunthorpe is known as an industrial garden. This is Central Park, one of the town's centre wide open spaces. As you can see, there's a fountain behind me and that way there's a paddling pool. In the summer there's lots of flowers. Many families have hours of fun here. Central Park leads on to Brumby Woods that way and further down that way leads to Kingsway Park. It can be a bit blustery like one of these days today. At one time, the steelworks employed over 20,000 people. There was even a little village called Anchor Village to house all the workers, but now it's a retail park.
St Lawrence's Church is the oldest church in Scunthorpe. The earliest part of the church dates from the 12th century.
Here you can see the houses that were built for the steelworkers. Can you imagine how many people would be going to work at the same time? Streets were named after important people. Of course, building houses wasn't enough. There was a hospital and a school. A real community was built here.
There are many old houses in Brumby like the one behind me. Like at one time you could walk to Ashby that way and Scunthorpe that way. It would be good to talk to somebody who grew up in this area. Did you grow up in this area?
Yes, I grew up in this area and my earliest memories are from the 1950s when I used to walk across this field to go to school.
What has been the biggest change?
Well, of course, the houses, but the lack of fields. The fields have all gone, or mostly gone. Even the large field that they said they were going to keep for a green belt has now got houses and shops on them.
In the early part of the last century, Frodingham Road was still quite busy. There were many shops too. Again, there was a school and a church which served the local community.
This is Scunthorpe's oldest mill and it is still standing today, although it is a restaurant. Ashby is one of Scunthorpe's villages. You can almost imagine it without cars. John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church, was born in Epworth, not too far from here. This chapel was built in 1893. Ashby is still thriving, especially today on market day.
Botanic Corner has always been a busy place. The building behind me used to be a church, but now it's a nightclub.
Crosby is another one of the villages of Scunthorpe. Our school is in the Crosby area of town. This cottage could tell a story if it could talk.
In 1944, I was 14. I had no education. My education consisted on surviving school. I got my first job when I was 13 and I started it on my 14th birthday. I went to work in Scunthorpe. I was just a girl really. I was what they called a barrow girl. Lots of us kids was just 14, maybe some were 15. used to go to work at 7:30 in the morning. We all got on the work bus in our ovals, you know, the dungarees, with the knapsack on your back, with the bottle of cold tea and your baked bean sandwiches, if you were lucky. Anyway, you get on this bus with all these other kids, 7:30 in the morning, and then you got on the bus at 5:30 at night to come home. Differences was, when you come home, you were covered in dust. It was all up your nasals. It was in your eyes. Your hair was stiff and black with it, and it was all in the corners of your mouth. You didn't like getting in the bath, have a shower, or washing your hair, or anything. You just give your hair a good brush, and before you went out that night to meet your mates, you'd give yourself a good splush in a basin of water. We got 30 bob a week, and my dad used to give me half a crown, and that. I was lucky really, though some of my mates had a bad time with their mums and dads.
And you slow. If sleep in the snow, and you slow.